Hi Leo, and welcome to your horoscope for February 2025. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. My horoscopes are based on the UK time zone, and please watch them in this order: for your rising sign or your ascendant first, then for your sun sign, and finally for your moon sign. So I'm going to break February down into 4 weeks, and I'm going to pay particular attention to the moon, how it moves through your chart, which areas of life it supports you in, and when. So February is a great month for stargazers. Until the end of February, we have something called a planetary parade. So 6 of the planets in our solar system have lined up, which is really rare. And at the end of February, Mercury, the communication planet, joins that planetary parade so that we have all 7 planets lined up perfectly. Now, the whole idea behind astrology is as above, so below. So the things happening in the sky influence us down here on planet Earth. And the fact that we have a planetary parade is cause for celebration because it'll allow you to set goals, and things that have seemed really complicated in the past are going to seem much more straightforward, and you'll be able to take the action steps to accomplish those hopes and dreams. Now, week 1, or the first 9 days of February, Saturday the 1st until Sunday the 9th of February. On the 1st, we have the moon in Pisces, and that's in your 8th house of institutions and authorities. And that is not the best day to deal with paperwork or bureaucracy. I would say what's going to be much more rewarding is spending time with people you care about, loved ones, people who are in your inner circle. Then on the 2nd and 3rd of February, we've got the moon moving into Aries, and it joins the asteroid Chiron, which is also known as the wounded healer. That's also in Aries in your 9th house. So those 2 days are days where you're going to be very, very curious about things that you're not familiar with. The 9th house is travel and education and the higher realms. So ultimately, it's about broadening your horizons. If you're able to take those 2 days off and to visit locations that you're unfamiliar with, that'd be a good idea because it will energize you. If you can study or learn about subjects that you know nothing about, that's going to do the same thing. Ultimately, it's about making life seem bigger by exposing yourself to things that are unfamiliar and satisfying that curiosity. On the 4th, 5th, and 6th of February, the moon then moves into Taurus, and it goes into your 10th house of career. And those 3 days are great for you to really do exceptional work in your job. If you're a student or retired, you'll make progress in terms of what you're learning about or what you're working towards or on. And also, if there are curveballs that are being thrown at you in work, as in a project needs you to think outside of the box or to find a different solution that you've never tried before, you'll really be able to master and ace those kind of things and accomplish great things in your work. On the 4th of February, we have Venus, the planet of love and beauty and creativity, that ingresses into Aries, and it moves also into your 9th house of education and broadening your horizons, right? So Venus is going to sit there all month. And the key thing about February for you as a Leo is, am I learning more? Am I exposing myself to things that I know nothing about? And if the answer is yes, it's going to give you a sense of warmth and accomplishment, and it will be nurturing and strengthening to you. The key thing is to try out new things and to grow in different directions that you've never visited before, so to speak. Also on the 4th of February, we have Jupiter, the lucky planet, going direct until the 11th of November this year. And when a planet is retrograde, the energy is expressed inwardly. When it's direct, the energy is expressed outwardly. And it's at 11 degrees in your 11th house of hopes and dreams. So 1111 in the tarot, that's the 4 of Wands. That's a really good sign. But this newfound curiosity and this willingness to learn and to experience new things, it's going to expose you to circumstances and lifestyles and people that you've never kind of been familiar with before, and it may change what your personal hopes and dreams are. So the key thing for you, Leo, is to be flexible, because the world is kind of serving things up to you on a silver platter that you then receive, you look at, and you say, wow, wouldn't it be great if I had this as part of my life? So it's very likely that here in February, but also moving through 2025, your hopes and dreams for the future are really going to change, and you are going to become much more open-minded. So then on the 7th and 8th of February, we've got the moon going into Gemini, and it joins Jupiter and the transiting ascendant in Gemini in that 11th house. So those 2 days particularly will offer you something that is unfamiliar and that will really fascinate you or grab your attention. And it may be that this first new hope and dream for the future is going to appear straight away. Then on the 9th, the moon moves into Cancer, and it stays in Cancer also on the 10th of February in week 2. But the moon rules Cancer, so it's very happy in that placement, and it's in your 12th house of spirituality and spiritual strength. And what's also in there is Hades and Mars, both in Cancer as well. So if you're a Leo who's not been particularly interested in spirituality or spiritual principles, or things that exist, in the ethereal realms and that are intangible and mysterious and unknowable, these 2 days, the 9th and 10th, if you look at that subject and you try something new like yoga or meditation or chanting or contemplation, something that you haven't had any experience with in the past, could be Tai Chi, Qigong, anything like that, you'll get a great sense of connection through that, and you may receive a spiritual message that then guides you and pushes you in a different direction as well. So for you guys, Leo, this is a month of change, and this is a month of considering things that you've never even thought about in the past. It's really interesting. So in week 1, the moon moves from your 8th house of institutions and authorities, and it ends in your 12th house of spirituality and spiritual strength. So that's pretty much the top half of your chart. The only thing the moon didn't touch is your 7th house of relationships, and the top half of your chart is quadrant 3 and 4. So that is about what else is out there, what needs taking care of. And the 4th quadrant is really about transcending the existing self. So you'll be able to do great work, but I really think the gift of the first week here is that you can see a new version of yourself that has never even occurred to you. So anyone who feels like they've been blinkered, or they've just been going through the motions, or they set a goal 5 years ago and now they're still on that track and things have become a little labored, the beginning of February is really going to surprise you, Leo, because it offers all this different way of living. Week 2, Monday to Sunday, the 16th. No, hang on. Before I mention week 2, the other thing about February is that Mercury, the communication planet, and Venus, the planet of love and beauty and creativity, they're direct all month. So I expect very little complication or issues when it comes to communication or transportation. And also, there's no hold up or no issue when it comes to starting new ventures, new projects, and also new relationships. Okay. So moving on into week 2, Monday to Sunday, the 10th until the 16th of February, the moon is still in Cancer on the 10th. So that opportunity to grow spiritually. Then on the 11th and 12th, the moon moves into your sign of Leo, and it goes into your first house of self. So you may experience those 2 days as having a great deal of well-being and ease and comfort within yourself, feeling confident, like you're able to present yourself and you're able to put yourself forward and out there and to take risks. So those 2 days are good for job applications, interviews, showing up and asking for investment in any new business ventures that you've got planned. It's really about putting yourself out into the public. On the 12th of February, we have a full moon in Leo, so that's your full moon, and that's when this confidence and ability to shine is heightened the most. Then on the 13th, 14th, and 15th of February, the moon goes into Virgo, and it goes into your second house of money and finances and securities. And Virgo is a sign that's ruled by Mercury, and it's very much about focusing on the details and study and coming up with meaning. So those 3 days are a good period to really get on top of your finances and to make plans for the future as far as your assets are concerned. Also on the 14th, we have Mercury, the communication planet and the ruler of Virgo, that ingresses into Pisces, and that goes into your 8th house of institutions again. So the key thing for you, Leo, this month is not to get wrapped up so much in bureaucracy and paperwork, but to try and get on top of your finances and things that exist on paper yourself, and to give yourself the chance to grow in terms of how am I going to develop as an individual and what makes me feel excited about life in the future and what gives me a sense of curiosity. The key thing is not to force yourself to do things which are basically designed or that stem from institutions or corporations or the government and that you have to deal with, right? The key thing is to rediscover yourself and what gives you a sense of joy and freedom in life. On the 14th as well, we have Valentine's Day. And on the 14th, the moon is in Virgo in your second. So I don't think the focus for you is going to be so much on love and romantic relationships. I think it's more about getting your affairs in order, being around people that you trust and that you care about. But I think you will be open to making new connections, but I don't feel that the main focus is on romance. It's more about communication and friendships and connecting with people who might be useful business partners or who may be mentors or who could teach you something. So I think the desire for a romantic connection isn't that strong during Valentine's Day for you as a Leo. On the 16th, the moon moves into Libra and it goes into your third house of communication, and it stays in Libra moving into week 3 as well on the 17th. So the moon again is your heart, it's your feeling, and in Libra it's about connection and communication. So if you're a Leo who works creatively as an artist or as a sculptor or as a writer, the 16th and 17th are 2 really good days where you can produce excellent work. But it's also, again, a good time for you to spend with people that you trust, that you care about, and also opening up to new experiences, travel, adventure, meeting new people, but in a more superficial kind of way, not getting to know someone and their deepest, darkest secrets. It's more about a fellow traveler along this journey that you're on. So keeping it kind of light and breezy. On the 16th of February, Venus is going to be at its brightest, and Venus is in that 9th. So it's going to encourage you to consider things that are new and unfamiliar and to transcend your existing self by acquiring this new information so that you set new goals and that you branch off in directions that, again, you wouldn't have considered before. It's interesting. So it's Leo kind of rebirthing itself and moving towards a different identity. So it's almost like you're leaving behind the past and the person that you were to a certain degree, and now moving into the realms of the unfamiliar and who you could be. Week 3, Monday to Sunday, the 17th until the 23rd of February. Moon's in Libra on the 17th, so again, great creative output. It then moves into Scorpio on the 18th, 19th, and 20th of February. And the moon in Scorpio is very much about getting to the truth of the matter, getting to the root cause. And it's joined by Vesta and Juno, also in Scorpio in that 4th house. So those 3 days are good for a retreat almost, or retreating and being around people who you really, really trust and letting them take care of you and letting them nurture you and kind of giving you a sense that this is where I belong. Yes, I am trying out all of these new things, but on the flip side, I know where my roots are. I know who I can trust, who supports me in my life, and who wants to see me thrive and grow. On the 18th, the sun goes into Pisces and it joins all the other planets in your 8th house, the part of fortune, Mercury, Saturn, Neptune, and the North Node in Pisces. So from the 18th onwards, I think bureaucracy and red tape, it'll be easier for you to handle now. So if you have to do any of those kind of things, leave it to the second half of the month. You'll have an easier time of it. On the 21st and 22nd, the moon goes into Sagittarius and it moves into your 5th house of what you love to do work-wise, but also who you love in a romantic way. So the 21st and the 22nd are great for going on dates and for exploring romantic relationships and opening yourself up in that kind of a way. The moon then goes into Capricorn on the 23rd, and also it stays in Capricorn on the 24th and 25th in week 4. And this is about getting the structures of your life in order. The 6th house is routine, it's your physical health, it's your body, and it's really the kind of scaffolding of your life. And the moon in Capricorn is willing to do the inner work and the outer work. So anything about your daily routine that needs adapting, that needs changing, maybe improving your diet or how much you sleep or your living situation, whether that's conducive to you feeling strong and healthy. Any changes that need making in those areas, the 23rd, 24th, and 25th are best for that. On the 23rd, we have really good news. Mars, the planet of masculinity and drive and ambition, that goes direct for the rest of the year. And it was retrograde for a long time. It was retrograde from the 6th of December 2024 until this day, the 23rd of February. And for you, it's in Cancer in your 12th house of spirituality, which again is very interesting because it's next to Hades and the transiting ascendant, which are both in Cancer as well. So with this shift, you may now become very willing to look into spiritual principles, even if those things have not interested you in the past. And again, you may be willing to try out a new modality, a new type of spiritual practice, that if you tell your friends and family members about it, they may be very surprised that you're now looking into these things. So this is a month of Leo, of really growing and transforming, kind of like the caterpillar becoming a butterfly. But don't be surprised if you're delving into areas that are completely unfamiliar to you here in February, and you may think, hey, what's going on here? So in week 3, the houses the moon covered, it started in your 3rd house of communication, and it ended up in your 6th house of work and daily routine and structures. So that's the 3rd house and the 2nd quadrant. 2nd quadrant is houses 4, 5, and 6. So this 3rd week is really about presenting yourself in a positive way, spending time with people you love, and then opening up to new relationships, particularly romantic ones, while also getting your house in order, the everyday routine of things. So you may be really busy during week 3. Week 4, Monday to Friday, the 24th to the 28th of February. Moon still in Capricorn on the 24th and 5th, so getting organized on a practical level. Then the moon goes into Aquarius on the 26th of February, and it sits in your 7th house of relationships, and it's next to Pluto in Pallas and the transiting midheaven. So you may notice that there's some sort of a conflict or something crops up in your working life that you hadn't contended with, and that may feel like a detour, something that you don't really want to have to deal with. The key thing about this on the 26th of February is to face that kind of thing head on and not to procrastinate on it or to sweep it under the rug. If you do sweep it under the rug, it'll reappear later on. So the key thing is to try and resolve the issue as it comes up in the moment. On the 27th and the 28th, the moon goes into Pisces again in your 8th house, and on the 27th of February we have a new moon in Pisces, so that's when the moon goes pitch black. I'll make separate videos on the full moon and the new moon, but in your case the moon pulls in all this Pisces energy in your 8th house. And again, it's interesting because I mentioned that bureaucracy and anything official you'll be able to deal with more easily from the 18th onwards. But now it's almost like, how do I create my own institution, and how can I subvert like a group of people or a governing body that has a strong influence on my life, and how can I find a better way of doing all of this, and how can I work towards replacing that institution with one that is more effective or is fairer or that works better. So you may have some conflict, with businesses or these governing bodies, and you may become a little frustrated with the restrictive influence or the oppressive influence that they have on your life, and you may rally against that. So yes, you're curious about different ways of being and you're looking into different things, but also where you're different is if you've accepted some sort of oppressive influence in your life and seen that as normal, I think you may start to resent that and become reactive over it. And I know I'm going into March now, but on the 1st of March, Venus goes retrograde until the 12th of April. And when that planet retrogrades, it's not so good to start new businesses or new relationships. So if you have the desire to make a new start in either of those areas, do it here in February rather than leaving it until March. So the houses the moon covers from the 24th to the 28th of February, it started in your 6th house and it ends in your 8th house. So that's the right-hand side of your chart. And that's really getting your own house and affairs in order, but then extending that and saying, hey, if I'm organized and if I'm doing things properly, then why is this company or this institution or this governing body, why aren't they doing things properly? And I refuse to accept that, and I want to fight that. So if you're going to take on a cause like that and really try and get a big organization to change their ways, make sure that you're ready for that fight, because those kind of things can take years and can take a lot of your resources and energy and be very expensive. So make sure that if you're rallying against some sort of a community or group of people, that cause is a cause you're willing to fight, not just in February, but on a more long-term basis. So that's what I get for you here in February. It looks like a complex month for you despite the planetary parade. So if you are setting new goals and you are saying this is something that I'm going to fight against, make sure that you're willing to put a lot of time and effort into that before you get started on it. So I hope that gives you an idea of February, what February looks like for you. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. To draw up your natal chart, I need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, then that's not a huge problem. I can use sunrise. Or there's also a process called chart rectification where I work out your time of birth. You send me 10 or more significant life events, and I'm actually then able to work it out manually, which is more accurate. Once I have your chart in front of me, it tells me what your vocational aptitudes are, what's destined in love and romance and finance and spiritual development and travel and all these other things. I look at what's coming up in future via your progress chart, your transits, and if it's near your birthday, I can also do a solar return chart. And those show me what's coming up in future. If there's anything around location or moving, I look at the astrocartography, which shows me how certain parts of the world are going to influence you, which ones will influence you in a positive way, and which ones will influence you in a negative way. So if you're interested in any of that, then please do get in touch with me for a personal reading. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please, so it shows up in searches. Subscribe for videos in future, and please share this video with friends, family, anyone you think may be interested in watching this. Have a fabulous February, and I'll speak to you soon.